Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of source material, really just distill the essential knowledge, and offer you a shortcut to being truly well-informed.
Hey there.
Today, we're undertaking a deep dive into a challenge that impacts millions globally, but is surprisingly, and this is the key, surprisingly preventable. We're talking about the proactive prevention of senior falls.
And it is a massive public health issue that I think just doesn't get the attention it deserves. I mean, the scale is staggering.
Right.
In the United States, an older adult falls every single second.
Every second.
Every second. And when you look at the data, this isn't just a matter of, a few cuts and bruises. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death in people over 65.
Exactly. But the most central and I think hopeful truth we pulled from our sources is this. Most falls are not random accidents.
No.
They're predictive signals. They are the body, or maybe the environment, or some subtle change in health sending up a flare that says something is off balance.
That's the mission of this deep dive right there. We're going to unpack the material that provides the essential, practical, really non-negotiable prevention steps.
And then we'll get into the cutting-edge stuff.
And then we'll look at the predictive technology that can help you or a loved one stay upright and functional for longer.
Okay, so let's unpack this. To really tackle this, it seems like we need a dual strategy. You have to address the environment, right? The classic safety modifications.
Right, grab bars and things.
And you also have to address the functional body. And that's where this personalized, data-driven health intelligence really changes the game.
But before we can prevent, we have to understand what's fascinating here is that a fall is rarely, if ever, caused by one single thing.
Right. It's not just tripping over the cat.
Not at all. It's usually this catastrophic intersection of two or three subtle deficits: physiological, environmental, medical, behavioral, all hitting at the exact same time.
So it's tripping over the cat while your blood pressure medication is kicking in and maybe you haven't been doing your physical therapy?
That's the perfect storm.
Let's start with the internal then, the physiological factors. What specific signals are our bodies sending that might indicate balance issues?
Okay, so we need to look closely at balance and gait impairments.
Yeah.
One of the most common yet, really overlooked factors are vestibular disorders.
The inner ear.
Exactly. The inner issues like BPPV, benign paroxysmal positional vertigo, which essentially throws off your internal compass. It can cause this sudden, really disorienting dizziness when you just shift positions.
So just turning your head or sitting up in bed.
Yeah, and that makes walking the length of a room suddenly feel like walking across the deck of a rocking ship.
Wow.
And of course, we also see major impacts from neurological conditions like Parkinson's or, say, post-stroke deficits. But often, the less obvious factor is something called altered proprioception.
Proprioception. Break that down for us.
A lot of people think of balance as just the inner ear and vision, but proprioception is your brain's internal GPS. It's the ability to sense where your limbs are in space without actually looking at them.
So if that internal GPS starts to fail, when I step off a curb or transition from carpet to hardwood, my brain can't instantly trust my footing or gauge the distance.
That immediate recalibration is lost. Exactly. And then layered on top of these sensory issues is deconditioning. This isn't just, feeling a bit weak. It's sarcopenia, a specific, often rapid wasting of the large stabilizing muscles in the lower body.
So the big muscles.
The big ones. If those foundational muscles, your hips, your core, are weak, you just lose the power and the agility to recover from even a minor stumble.
Right.
And that's what turns a small trip into a life-altering fall.
Right. If the underlying engine is compromised, the whole structure is vulnerable. Let's move beyond muscle and nerves. Our sources highlight some major medical blind spots, especially when it comes to the medicine cabinet.
Right.
The danger of polypharmacy seems to be this recurring siren call.
It absolutely is. When we talk about polypharmacy, we mean taking 5 or more medications, and the risk just increases exponentially with each added drug.
And it's not just heavy narcotics we're talking about, right?
Not at all. It's sedatives, some blood pressure medications, certain antidepressants, even standard painkillers can carry fall-related side effects. They can make you drowsy, affect your gait, or, most notoriously, cause something called orthostatic hypotension.
Help us understand that mechanism. Why is that specific reaction so dangerous?
Orthostatic hypotension is that sudden, dizzying drop in blood pressure when you move quickly from sitting or lying down to standing up.
That head rush.
That head rush. And if you're already dealing with minor proprioception issues or weak muscles, and then suddenly the blood rushes out of your head, That moment of dizziness is often the precise moment that stability is lost. It's a system failure right when you need it most.
That's a powerful compounding factor. What about sensory input beyond proprioception? Vision is obvious, but the sources also pointed to hearing.
Yes, annual vision exams are crucial for catching things like cataracts or glaucoma, which affect contrast sensitivity.
Making that black rug on a brown floor basically invisible.
Completely invisible. But the surprising connection is poor hearing. Our sources indicate that hearing loss actually reduces your spatial orientation. Your brain uses sound to help map the world around you, so when that input degrades, your spatial awareness degrades too.
It's incredible how interconnected it all is. These risk factors, they're not always dramatic. Sometimes they're just hidden deficits.
That's a perfect way to put it. Think about nutritional issues, like a vitamin D deficiency weakens bones and affects muscle function, or just simple, pervasive dehydration, which causes confusion and dizziness that most people just brush off.
Right, I'm just feeling a bit under the weather today.
Exactly. These are silent risk factors that are slowly, silently building up the risk portfolio.
And finally, we have to talk about the psychological spiral, the fear of falling.
It is truly a paradox. Once you have a scare or even just hear stories, the fear causes people to restrict their activity. They stop going for walks, they isolate themselves.
And that activity avoidance accelerates the physical decline.
It makes everything worse.
Yeah.
It leads to faster sarcopenia and deconditioning. The fear itself actively increases the actual likelihood of a fall.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. Because once you understand that complex, multi-layered breakdown of risk, you can move from just worrying to having an actionable plan. So what are the essential practical steps that directly address these core deficits starting today? This is what our sources call the practical blueprint.
This is the foundation. You can build all the layers of technology on top of this, but without the blueprint, the risk remains unacceptably high.
Okay, step one, the mandatory home safety checklist. We have to eliminate the environmental hazards. And I know this sounds simple, but the sources are emphatic. Remove or tape down all throw rugs. Every single one is a tripwire.
Every single one. And lighting is just as crucial. You must install night lights in the bedroom, the bathroom, the hallway. When you get up at night, your vision's already compromised. And that lack of contrast turns a small step into a huge hazard.
You've got to see the ground.
You have to see the ground.
Secure electrical cords, obviously. But the non-negotiables are non-slip mats and sturdy, professionally installed grab bars near toilets and in the tub or shower. These are your recovery tools in the highest risk areas of the house.
And it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of functional intelligence.
Yeah.
If you're reaching for something or shifting your weight on a wet surface, that grab bar is the difference between a minor slip and a traumatic injury.
And here's a great practical tip that addresses functionality. Keep frequently used items, coffee cups, reading glasses, whatever, at waist height. This prevents the need for excessive stretching up or deep bending down.
Both of which seriously compromise your center of gravity and balance.
That's just low-cost, high-impact functional safety. So beyond the environment, we move to conditioning the body through targeted exercise and balance training. It's not just go for a walk. It has to be intentional. What specific programs do the sources cite as most effective?
Tai Chi and the Otago exercise program, often supervised by a physical therapist, show remarkable results. Tai Chi is fantastic because it emphasizes slow, controlled movements, weight shifting, and mindful awareness.
So it's directly training that proprioception we talked about?
It directly trains proprioception and static balance. It's low impact, but it's high intensity for the stabilizing systems.
Right.
And alongside that, you need true strength training. You've got to target the hips, the legs, and the core. These are the muscle groups that give you the power to shift your weight quickly, to let you catch yourself mid-trip. You're building resilience.
And we can't forget practicing functional balance, right? Like standing on one foot or safely stepping over obstacles. These are the micro skills that translate directly into fall resilience in the real world.
Exactly. When you have to dodge a dog or step up onto a curb.
Which brings us to the medical side, completing the practical blueprint. We have to circle back to polypharmacy and sensory input.
Yes, the single most crucial medical intervention is the medication review. This needs to happen regularly, maybe every 6 to 12 months, with a doctor or a pharmacist.
Then you have to bring in everything.
Everything. Every supplement, every over-the-counter pill. You have to assess the risk of interaction or side effects that affect balance. What worked for you 6 months ago might be affecting your gait today.
And that review must be paired with addressing those hidden deficits we talked about. Annual vision exams are non-negotiable. And talk to your doctor about screening for vitamin D deficiency and making sure you have adequate hydration, especially if you take diuretic medications.
Okay, so that suite of practical steps home, body, and medicine creates a really powerful defense line. But this is where technology steps in to augment prevention, shifting the whole approach from reactive defense to continuous predictive maintenance. We move from relying on manual periodic checks to a system that continuously monitors your unique, personalized risk profile.
So let's talk about that concept of predictive health intelligence, using the system mentioned in our sources, FinchQ as the example. How does a system like this actually use data to forecast a fall before it happens?
So FinchQ is a private health intelligence platform that calculates a personalized, and this is the keyword, evolving fall risk score. It starts by passively collecting data, often from a device everyone has, like an Apple Watch.
So you don't have to do much.
You don't.
Yeah.
It performs sophisticated gait analysis and monitors mobility patterns and vital signs. And crucially, it doesn't use a general population average to assess your risk.
Yeah.
It tracks you against your own personal baseline.
That distinction tracking you versus everyone else, that's key. So what specific data points is the system looking at to reveal a pending imbalance? What are the whispers the body is sending?
Well, it monitors 4 primary metrics derived from walking patterns. First, step length and walking speed. When these start to decline, it often indicates a loss of confidence or some underlying muscle weakness.
Okay.
Second, and this is a really interesting one, double support time. That's the amount of time both of your feet are simultaneously on the ground during a step. An increase here is a huge indicator of instability because the person is spending more time safe and less time balancing on one leg.
That's a brilliant metric because if my double support time is increasing, I'm already unconsciously compensating for a deficit and trying to prevent a fall without even realizing I'm doing it.
Absolutely. And the fourth factor is heart rate variability, which is a kind of proxy for overall systemic health, balance control, and fatigue. But the power of the system lies in tracking trends over time. A single day's slow speed is just noise.
Right.
A sustained 10 to 15% decrease in walking speed over 2 weeks. That's a real signal of physiological decline.
That trend detection is the critical proactive component. But for an older adult who might not be super tech savvy, how does a system like FinchQ balance all this complex data collection with the need for user simplicity?
That's a really important question. The data complexity all happens behind the scenes. For the user, it's translated into simple terms like a daily Finch score, which is a clear number reflecting their functional state. And more importantly, the system delivers these critical health signals and alerts based on deviations from that personal baseline.
So alerts like your walking speed has decreased 15% this week, or your standing heart rate is unusually high today.
Exactly. And this provides education without fear. It gives you actionable awareness. If you get that alert, you can choose a micro-intervention. Maybe you call your physical therapist, you prioritize your balance exercises that day, or you make an appointment for a medication review.
So you're acting on awareness, not reacting to a crisis.
You are. And the data is empowering. The user decides if they want to share those trends with their personal healthcare team or, just keep the information entirely private.
So when we bring the practical safety blueprint and the predictive data together, what's the final implication for our listeners?
It means fall prevention is not a single action. It's a continuous multi-domain strategy. A grab bar solves an environmental problem. Tai Chi addresses proprioception. FinchQ addresses a sudden detrimental physiological trend before that trend manifests as an incident.
It's all about pattern recognition.
It's about pattern recognition and early intervention across every single domain.
The stakes are incredibly high, and we need to look at the stark reality the source material reveals. 1 in 5 falls causes a serious injury, a head trauma, a broken hip.
Devastating.
And so many seniors never fully recover their prior independence, which often leads to institutionalization.
It is a profound, life-altering event. But the hopeful conclusion is that falls don't have to be an inevitable part of aging. With the right blend of safe environments, targeted exercise, consistent medical reviews, and the augmentation of smart technology, you have significantly more control over your physical trajectory than ever before.
So that powerful blend of essential practical safety, removing the throw rugs, getting that critical medication review, and combining that with the augmentation offered by data-driven predictive systems like personalized gait analysis, that's the roadmap for staying functional, upright, and free.
Which I think raises an important question for you to mull or maybe explore on your own. If technology can provide this continuous, personalized feedback on the functional decline that is the direct precursor to falls, does the future of aging fundamentally shift? Does it move away from just reacting to health crises and toward a state of permanent, data-driven functional maintenance?
Something to think about long after this deep dive ends. Thank you for joining us today. Stay aware, stay functional, and stay upright. We will catch you on the next deep dive.